Behind these barred windows are some special internees awaiting better days. These are women of the royal family. The Red Cross delegates regularly bring them relief and news of their relatives. Assistance to prisoners of war is one of the ICRC's traditional tasks. Often, after lengthy negotiations, it manages to arrange for the liberation of some of them. What welcome the ICRC delegate receives when he brings to these men the news that they will be able to return to their own country. Their smile is his greatest reward. This moment of joy, they owe it to the universally respected emblem flying here high in the Sana sky. In the north of the Yemen, there was neither equipment nor personnel for the care of the royalist wounded. The ICRC undertook an even heavier task than in Sana, the setting up of a field hospital at Ukt. Here, among this outcrop of rocks, lies Ukt in the desert sands extending further than the eye can see across the Arabian Peninsula. A few months ago, only some Bedouin tribes and camel caravans frequented this spot. Today, there are 7 doctors and a staff of more than 20, all recruited by the Swiss Red Cross, working there without respite. Every day, the royalist wounded and sick converge upon this canvas village, making their way by lorry, camel, donkey or foot to this haven of human fellowship. For most of them, it is the first time in their lives that they have seen a doctor. Women and children also stand beneath the burning sun, sometimes for hours, patiently waiting their turn. Often, they are accompanied by their husbands. And even when time passes slowly, they remain patient in the traditional way of the Orient. Each month, over 1,000 patients, victims of war and sickness, go into this polyclinic tent. These veiled Bedouin women do not know what the ICRC is, but they know what it does, and that is why they come to Ukt. Every self-respecting Yemenite carries his jumbia, a dagger richly decorated in nickel and silver. One of the most delicate tasks facing the head of the hospital is to maintain good relations with the local dignitaries. Today, they are bringing in a man who has had shrapnel in his thigh for several months. The limb is gradually becoming paralyzed. It must be operated upon tomorrow. Twice a day, the doctors visit the ward tents in which the most seriously injured are lying. This young specialist in internal medicine, as he does his round with the medical orderly and an interpreter, is welcomed as a friend by these men who have been stricken by the misfortunes of war. There are as many sick as there are wounded, and diagnosis is often a very difficult matter. In this, the Arab interpreter's role is indispensable. Without him, it would take much longer to diagnose the case of malaria, bilharziosis, or stomach ulcers. The chronic malnutrition, which is the loss of these tribes, does not help matters. There are about 90 patients in the hospital, from the fighting area in the east and from isolated villages in the interior of the Yemen. Some toiled on foot for several days, running a fever of 104 degrees. Little did the ICRC know when setting up its field hospital among the population, whose conceptions are still medieval, that it would stimulate a new idea, the idea that sickness and injuries may be cured. The people who formerly were resigned to suffering and death now flock in their hundreds to Ukt. For these Yemeni, relief of suffering, healing and cure are miracles. Their gratitude to the doctors and nurses is touching to behold. Shukran, shukran, thank you, they repeat after being tended by the man in white. In this sanctuary for the suffering, there are a number of cases of shock. They have lived through the nightmare of war. They have survived air raids. They have seen those dearest to them killed.